Hi guys, my name is Bobby and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm doing a book haul. Now this book haul isn't like necessarily Christmas gifts, whatever. Some of it's stuff from the Bookie Box. Some of it is stuff from Christmas. I didn't receive any books for Christmas, but I did get a Barnes & Noble gift card for Christmas, so the stuff I bought from that is in here. I'm supposed to have a book outlet order coming. It actually should have been here yesterday, which I was excited about because I wanted to film today. Like Thursday's my #1 filming day. I have the whole house to myself. And it's still at the post office. So it should be here today, but I have stuff going on tonight and tomorrow. I'm going to also include my book outlet haul in here. And the book outlet haul I did on Boxing Day because they had that amazing sale. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the picture of the book that I'm hauling up on the screen like I do with my ebooks and stuff like that so that you can see which books that I got in my book outlet haul. I just don't have them to hold up right now. And I don't want to wait until next week because it's been about a week since I posted. Oh, and also I am so sorry for the lighting. It is like dark and dreary outside today. And with the book haul, I like to be on my bed only because it's easier for me to maneuver with the books instead of sitting in front of the window. And so I have my natural light, but then I also have my really crappy overhead light. And it's just, I'm sorry in advance. Okay, so I'm just going to go from the top of the stack and then just work my way down and explain a little bit about it if I know anything about it. Some of them I don't know all that much about, so we'll see. So the first thing I'm going to haul I got with my Barnes & Noble gift card that I got for Christmas, and this is this box set of the Mistborn trilogy from Brandon Sanderson. So this has Mistborn, or I think it's The Final Empire is what most people call the first book, but this one just says Mistborn, The Well of Ascension and Hero of Ages. They are... oh god, why can I never remember the name of the paperback style when I'm filming, but then in editing or any other time I can remember? It's freaking annoying. But they are, oh, mass market. These are mass market paperbacks. They're small. And I don't mind mass market all that much. I just thought this was the bigger paperbacks, but it's fine. Like, I've been wanting to read Brandon Sanderson for a while. I have Mistborn right here. I'm still reading it. I'm on page 409 of like 600, so I only have 200 pages left, but I read it in huge chunks and then I take a break and read something else, and I think it's helping me get through Sanderson a little more. It's not that Sanderson's hard to get through. His world building is very good, very extensive. His magic system's really extensive, but it's high fantasy, and this is my first foray into high fantasy, and I was told, and like from watching other booktubers, that if you want to get into high fantasy and you want to try Sanderson, the Mistborn trilogy is the best way to start, because it is high fantasy, but it's not super high to where you're going to be totally confused. And so far, I'm really loving it. I'm really enjoying the story. It's just, you know, I get too fantasied out and, you know, so I take a break and read something else. But I'm almost done with this. I'm planning on finishing it hopefully this weekend. But I got the entire series, so I can easily finish this trilogy. Hopefully, I will get to all 3 books or the other 2 by the end of the year. Oh, and heads up, if you want to know how my January TBR is going, not well. I've struggled a little bit this month. I have yet to finish a book, and I am like, and I'm blaming it mostly on a slump. I've been kind of in a slump anyways, but my entire TBR that I did when I had Goodreads pick my TBR is fantasy, save for 2 books. My Richard Lehman book, which I will be reading, and the other one that's on the ebook, the Gil Paul book. Other than that, they're all fantasy, and I think it's like too much fantasy overload. There's nothing like, and I'm not really in that much of a fantasy mood. So you'll see in my wrap up at the end of this month, hopefully I get through most of them. If I do not get through all of them, I will carry them on and finish them all to finish that challenge for myself. But I don't think it is all going to get done this month. Just as a little heads up. Let's get on to the book haul. So the next book that I hauled, this was in the adult Bookie Box the month of November. I still haven't gotten December yet, so this is the month of November, and it's called Dragon Shadow by L. Catherine White. I'm probably going to unhaul this. Like, I had read what it's about on the back, and it sounds really interesting, but I didn't know this is the second book in the series, and I didn't know this was a series, and I don't really have, it's not interesting enough to me to warrant buying or trying to see if I could check out the first book to get to the second one. So I'm hauling this just to probably promptly unhaul it. The next book on my stack is I got with my Barnes & Noble gift card. And I bought this book because Katie over at Chapter Stacks, who reads a lot of horror and thrillers, she talked about this, and I don't remember what video it was. I don't know if it was like her most favorite horror books. It was an older video, but I think it was sometime in the last year. And that's The Devil of Nanking by Mo Rader. I've heard a lot of good, or more, Mo Hader, not Rader, excuse me. But I've heard this is terrifying. She said it was one of the most terrifying books she's ever read. And it's Japanese, but it's an English woman, and she is in Tokyo, and she's chasing a piece of lost film footage shot during the notorious Nanking Massacre. The only man who can help a survivor of the massacre is now a visiting professor at a university and will have nothing to do with her, so she's desperate, and she's in a city she doesn't know well. She accepts a job as a hostess at a night spot for Japanese businessmen and wealthy Yakuza, where one gangster gets involved. Oh, okay, that's right. So this is a lot about the Yakuza, which is like a notoriously violent Japanese gang that has been around for centuries. So, but I've heard it is one of the most terrifying stories. So I cannot wait to read this one because I've been starving for some good horror lately. There's some that I've tried and it just hasn't worked out. So I'm really hoping that this is just the horror dose that I need. And then after that, I got with also my gift card. Let's see. I will, okay, do the other gift cards as well. So I also got this with my gift card from Barnes & Noble, and that's Vicious by V.E. Schwab. It's been hyped so much on YouTube recently. Like, BookTube's, all they're talking about is Vicious and Vengeful, and Vicious and Vengeful, and V.E. Schwab this, and V.E. Schwab that. So, it's about supervillains. Two guys who are in college. Like, I don't even have to read the synopsis because it's talked about so much. Two guys are in college in, I think it's our world, but it's futuristic, sci-fi-ish. They figure out that you can adjust your DNA and they become, like, supervillains. Something to that effect. It's talked about so much. I thought I'd give it a shot. I'm not in a rush to read it. Probably wait until like later in the year when the hype's kind of died down, but I needed something to fill my cart, and I was like, why not? The next book on my list is, and that I got with my gift card, is one that I've heard some about. Not, like, it's not as hyped as Vicious, but it's gotten a lot of hype here and there by, like, Lala really loved it. I think Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads is reading it right now. There's a couple people who have read it and really loved it. And I have her other book on my shelf, and I haven't yet to read that. But this book is Saw Kill Girls by Claire Legrand. And I have Furyborn right over here on my shelf. I haven't read it yet. But Furyborn's a YA fantasy. This is a YA, I think it's considered a thriller. And I've heard negative things about YA thrillers, but everyone says that this one's really good, very atmospheric and creepy. So I like atmospheric and creepy. The Wicked Deep was one of my favorite reads last year, so I figured why not give it a shot? And I guess the moths have something to do with this. I don't know, it looks like it'd be a really easy read, but it's about like 3 girls and some monster and like killing something. I don't know. I kind of want to go into it blind. I don't really want to know much about it, but this one was kind of like, yeah, and it was like on sale, and it's, yeah, this one was like a must buy. Next book, my last book that I got with my gift card, it's another one that's been hyped really recently in like the past couple of months. And when I first saw it on Goodreads, like before it got all the hype and started showing up in book boxes and whatnot, the premise sounded really interesting to me to begin with. And then I've seen all this hype. One of my favorite booktubers, Maddie, absolutely hated it. And then, but almost everybody else loved it. So we'll see kind of where I fall. But that's Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nyen. And this is a YA fantasy about this, it's got like demons. So like there's like this demon king. But from what I understand, he looks like an animal-ish, like an animal-human hybrid, I guess. And he picks these concubines called Paper Girls. And I don't know how many he picks a year. It's like some number, like 9, 11, something like that. And this year he picks an extra one, and it ends up being the main character. And she's something about how she's a girl of fire. Like, I don't really understand, but from what I understand, the magic system is really intricate, and it's like really fun. And I just heard good things about it from everybody except for Maddie at the Book Pusher, who absolutely hated it. So we'll see where I fall. The cover is gorgeous, and I'm really excited to see if I like it. Because, you know, a lot of times I tend to side with my favorite booktubers, but Maddie's one of my favorite, and a lot of things her and I agree on. So I wonder if I'll end up hating it, because I don't always agree with Lala. The next 2 books I'm going to talk about were in my Book of the Month box for January, not December. Did I haul the ones for December? No, I didn't. So my December book of the month, pick was, where did I put it? I don't remember. I don't know where it is. It's down there in my closet somewhere. It's No Exit by something Adams. I'll put a picture up on the screen because I don't want to go dig for it. I reviewed and wrapped that one up in my December wrap-up. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. But that was my December book of the month. My January book of the month, I picked 2 because I couldn't decide between the 2. Oh, wait. The one is actually a January choice. The other one is not a January choice, but it was like an extra you can add in. Because Book of the Month now has been getting books that are not included in like your 5 picks that you can choose from for the month, but like extra books you can add as add-ons that tend to be popular or, you know, what's kind of new and exciting right now. So the book that I picked for my January pick doesn't come out until February 5th, I believe. So it's one of their exclusives. So you get it a month early. And that's The Silent Patient by Alex. I'm going to butcher that. Let's see. Michaelides. I'm Michelides. Like, I am so sorry. That's probably butchered. I should have looked that up. But this is one, like, and I'm reading it right now. Like, this is getting me out of my slump because I'm really enjoying it. I have about 130 pages or so left, and I'm really enjoying this book a lot. And it's interesting because when I looked this one up, I looked it up on Goodreads, and Chelsea Humphrey, who is only on Goodreads, and she's on Instagram a lot. She's a big, big reader. She just doesn't have a booktube. She reads a lot of mystery thrillers, and I get a lot of my recommendations from her. And she read this one and only gave it 3 stars. And I read her review, and it was non-spoiler. And she said in her review that she really enjoyed it, but because she reads so many mystery and thrillers, that she saw the twist coming about halfway through, and she figured out what the twist was. Now, I tend to read a lot of mystery thrillers, and I tend to figure it out pretty quick. Final Girls by Riley Sager. I figured it out on page 8. So, I mean, not to pat my own back or toot my own horn, a lot of the times I can figure it out pretty quickly what the twist is. And this one I haven't yet. I hope when that happens, because I know we're getting down to the last 100 pages, the twist is coming soon. I hope when we get to the twist, it's not going to be like one of those, oh my God, you dumbass, you should have seen that coming a mile away. But I kind of went into it a little blind, hoping to not figure out the twist, because that makes it more fun, and it's really a page turner. So all I can really say about The Silent Patient, without trying to give it too much away, is that story is from the point of view of Theo, and Theo is a psychotherapist. He's a psychotherapist, and he transfers purposefully to this psychiatric facility called The Grove because he wants to take on this patient named Alicia Berenson. And that's specifically why he goes there, because he wants to treat her. Now, Alicia is a woman who 7 years prior or 6 years prior murdered her own husband and then went absolutely silent. Was silent through her trial, through everything, and has not said a word since. Is completely silent. And that's all you really need to know going in. And so the whole story, it's from Theo's point of view, and then interspersed in his point of view is journal entries from Alicia from before the murder. So that's about all most people will give going in. And so I went in just knowing that it was about a woman who killed her husband, who doesn't speak anymore and is in a psychiatric facility, and the psychoanalyst who is trying to fix her or get her to talk or whatever. I'm really enjoying it so far. My rating will depend on, and my final enjoyment factor will depend on the twist. It always depends on the twist. If the twist is really great and I didn't see it coming, or it's something a little bit that I haven't read in a while or a little bit new, that will bump it up a star. If it's like, oh my God, it's that, or like if it was something like, and I don't know if this is it or not, so this is not a spoiler because I do not know, I haven't finished it, but if it's one of those, well, this was all just a dream, or if it's because this is a mental institution and stuff like that, if this ends up being that the psychoanalyst is actually a patient himself, if it ends up being that, I'm going to be freaking pissed, because I hate those where it's like, this is all in his head. This is all in his head, and he fixated on another patient, it's all in his head, or it's going to piss me off. But so far, loving it. The next one I picked for our book of the month for January, this was just an add-on, and it wasn't one that you could choose. It's just one of those ones that was an extra, and I've heard Gabby at Gabby Reads talk about it. I think, Lala over Books and Lala, she read it. She liked it. And that's Watching You by Lisa Jewell. I have another Lisa Jewell book in there that I have not read yet, The Third Wife, I think. But this one, I guess, is really good. It's a suspense. I don't know if it's a psychological thriller, but it is like suspense, like it's all about a neighborhood. Somebody dies in the beginning, and then it's like you get the point of view of all these different people in the neighborhood and that are involved in his life, and they seem like they all don't matter, but then they all come together in the end. Like one of those stories, and I love stories like that. And it's only like 300 pages or something like that. Yeah, just over 300, like 320. So one I can really breeze through, just like The Silent Patient, and that's mostly why I got it. And then the next physical book that I have on hand that I'm going to haul came in my Bookie Box YA box. Now, I didn't do an unboxing for the November YA Bookie Box because it was late. I didn't get it. I got it on the 4th of January, and my YA box got lost in the mail, and she had emailed me, said it was shipped in the first batch. It got lost in the mail. I didn't even get a tracking number for it. So Julia was so kind, and she had extras. She made another box for me and shipped it and was here within 2 days. She's amazing. Like, they've had some issues the last month or so with vendors not getting stuff on time. The books were late. This was the book that was late for 2 weeks late, so it delayed the shipment of the boxes. And seeing what the book was, I totally understood why they ran out of books. And so she's getting back on track. She's made some changes, but Juliet is very nice. She's kind. She answers almost all emails, and like she is very good with communication and helping out, and she was amazing through the whole process. Like, I really appreciate her. I've had a bad experience with another box before that ended up shutting down, that had taken people's money and had taken my money, and I've never gotten it back, and I had already unsubscribed months prior. Julia's like amazing. She's all about communication and stuff like that, and I'm really excited to see where her box is going this year. But enough gushing about how much I think Julia is awesome. The book that was in the YA box, which I guessed based on her hashtags that she put on Instagram, she gives a little bit of a tease, and I figured it out, and almost everything in the box was themed that, and that's probably why I didn't haul it, because I knew what was coming. I knew what the book was, and it was late, and so I felt kind of weird doing a November book unboxing in January. So the candle's up there. It is based on the book, like everything else was based on the book. That's Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. You've probably seen this all over BookTube. It's very hyped. It's a huge chunker because it's Brandon Sanderson. But this is a YA book from him, and it's about this girl, and what's her name? Spensa. And it takes place on Earth. But Earth is being attacked a lot. We're at war with an alien life form, and they just keep doing massive attacks on Earth, and everything that we have on Earth cannot defeat them. Like, we just don't have the means. So we've taken to the sky to do that in our spaceships or whatever, and she wants to be a pilot and be a fighter pilot and to fight the aliens, and she can't because something about her dad, like he used to be a pilot, and they said that he abandoned his crew and then has since died, so he's considered a coward and a traitor. So because of that, they won't let her into flight school. So it's all about her trying to get into flight school and all of that. And so it's like YA sci-fi. It's Brandon Sanderson, so since I'm enjoying Mistborn a lot and I like his writing, I think I would enjoy this. Like, I mean, the only YA sci-fi I've read are the Illuminae files, and I love those, but I also knew I already loved Jay Kristoff, so. Okay, now we're going to do my book outlet. I'm just going to put pictures on the screen. Some of these I don't know much about. It's just stuff I've heard of. So the first one is An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. This I've heard a lot about. It was a Book of the Month pick last year. I think it was part of the Goodreads Awards, but I don't think it won anything. It was an Oprah book pick. It's a literary fiction about, I think they're an African-American couple, if I remember correctly. And they get married, and they're very much in love. And then the husband gets accused of and tried and convicted of a crime he did not commit and ends up going to prison. And it's about how their marriage survives or what it goes through while he's in prison and she's not. And it involves, like, his best friend as well is kind of involved. So I don't know if there's a love triangle involved. But it's literary fiction, so it should be pretty good. It shouldn't be super tropey. But I guess he gets out of prison and then comes home, and she needs to figure out is she still in love with him anymore? Like, can they work through this? You know, because this is kind of a big trauma. The next one is another Lisa Jewell book. It is I Found You by Lisa Jewell. I just heard, I think it was Gabby over Gabby Reed. She read this one and really enjoyed it. I don't remember what it's about. Lisa Jewell writes like mystery, thriller, suspense, domestic usually, so there's that one. The next book that I got from Book Outlet is Jaw of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. Don't know much about this one. Know it's a thriller. Don't really know the synopsis at all. Just No, it's a mystery thriller. I've heard people talk about it. It came out last year. The next one I got was The Marsh King's Daughter by Karen Dion. Vicky over Chapter 32 read this one and really loved it. If I remember right, it's about a girl who is raised out in the woods in the middle of nowhere. I think it takes place in Michigan, and that's where Vicky lives, if I remember right. And her parents or her dad was like kind of a survivalist or whatever, but I guess he committed some really awful crimes. She gets away from it, but then he escapes and ends up back in the woods, and she's the only one that can find him. I think it's something along those lines. It just seemed really intriguing to me, so that's why I got that one. And I got is called The Glass Forest by Cynthia Swanson. I believe Lala read this last year. It's a thriller. I don't know anything about it, but I think it takes place in the 60s. The last book I got on Book Outlet was Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. This one's been on my radar since last year. It's a YA fantasy that deals with Vikings, and so I was really excited when I heard that. I've heard mixed reviews about it, but it's about a female Viking and different clans, and her brother, she thought her brother was dead, but she sees another clan. Something like that. Drama. But that's it, guys. That is my book haul. It is not super huge, but this has just been the last couple months towards the end of the year. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below in the comments if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them, or are you excited to read any of these books or any of these on your radar? And I will see you guys later. Bye.